pleased to present for your consideration.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Jabberbox Podcast, episode 32. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Bond, and with me are the icy blues of the desert, the former devil himself, Daniel Singleton.
Hey, everyone. What's going on?
If you're joining in for the very first time, then you should know that this show is about the two of us as we ramble on through pop culture topics such as, but not limited to, games, movies, shows, and whatever else we want to jabber about. You can get the show over on youtube.com or on your favorite podcast service by searching Dandy Digital or Jabberbox and hitting that subscribe button. If you like what you hear and want to be part of the show, head on over to patreon.com/dandydigital. All right, Dan, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. It's been a weird week. But personally, not too terribly bad. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just kind of enjoying my Friday, just working for the weekend. You know what I'm saying?
I think the song would say that everyone's doing that, right?
Yeah. So cool, man. So I know this is generally a pop culture type podcast, but in light of the crazy shit, like you said during the week.
Yeah. So Ukraine, that's the hot world topic right now. And it's getting pretty crazy over there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to unpack, as those in the corporate world would unsay, or would say, not unsay. Wow, I am just not on my A game today. Yeah, a lot to unpack. Let's put a pin in it and circle back. So, yes, Russia pushed into Ukraine and is in the midst of an active invasion. They have taken Kiev's airport. They have launched something on the order of like 160 missiles, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles. They have sent basically like assassination teams into Kiev that are undercover, that are basically hunting the Ukrainian president. And the Ukrainian people are fighting back. Like, it's been pretty crazy. There's been some videos out there of there was a Ukrainian grandmother who recorded herself going up and yelling at Russian soldiers like in their face and telling them the most cold-blooded shit I've ever heard in my life.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was hey, do us all a favor and put some sunflower seeds in your pocket so that wherever you die, Ukraine can have flowers when you're done.
Holy shit.
It's like, goddamn, that's fucking awesome. Good for her.
Right.
Good for her. So, yeah, that's been going on.
Yeah, I saw something.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I saw something about there was like a warship going up against Snake Island.
Yeah.
And did you see that video?
I did not see the video, but I read the article about it.
Yeah, so I mean, wasn't necessarily a video showing it, but it was kind of like, it was one of those videos that showed the transcript. You could hear the voices, right? And you could hear the Russian warship sitting, telling them, lay your weapons down. We don't need any unwarranted or unjustified bloodshed and this and that. We are coming, and if you don't, we are going to hit you. And the response was like, should I? Should we tell him? And they're like, yep. It's like, go fuck yourself, Russian warship. And then like, that was it. So, I mean, it's fucking heartbreaking to see this. And I'm not generally somebody who likes to keep up on world events type that way because it's so fucked up. You know what I mean? And I was like, it sucks that they went out, but they're going down fighting for sure.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better ways to go. For sure, is going down fighting instead of some of the other ways that could go. Not to glorify Russians, but there is a story. This is years ago. With I don't know, within the past 10, more than 5, where there was a Russian soldier. I want to say it was possibly in Syria, and he was cornered, and ISIS had him cornered in a building, and he was by himself, and he called in an airstrike on the building, knowing it was going to take him out, but he was basically just like, "Hey, this is a better fate than getting captured by ISIS."
Right. So,
I think Russians can even understand, that kind of mentality, because, and I don't think a lot of the Russians really are into this. Even the military, some of them have just like straight surrendered. They're like, "Hey, we didn't think we were actually going to be ordered in here to do this." So
right, they believe that it was the war games.
Yeah,
that they were doing, and I have been seeing that there's been protests happening in Moscow. To stop
Moscow, St. Petersburg, all the
yeah. So it's not like it's a collective invasion. It's being done with disregard to your own people.
Yeah. So I think Ukrainian President Zelensky, I think he's doing a pretty good job given the circumstances, honestly.
Yeah.
It also kind of cracks me up how he got that job. Because he's a comedian and actor. And he got famous in Ukraine for being on I believe it's a sitcom where he played the Ukrainian president.
Oh, wow.
And then he ended up becoming the actual Ukrainian president. And he seems like he's doing pretty well, given the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it continues. And hopefully, this can be stopped. But there's all kinds of crazy stuff too that people are watching out. It's like, well, if Russia's doing this, I mean, we know that people are watching China as well.
Yeah, what are they, how do they view this? How does this impact their thoughts on what to do with Taiwan or Hong Kong, or continue to do with Hong Kong and things like that? Yeah, or North Korea with South Korea. Although South Korea and Taiwan are much different animals than Ukraine is, for sure.
Right. So it's crazy, man. I've picked up a couple articles, and there's also some reports coming out of a Ukrainian fighter pilot, and hopefully these are true reports. But apparently, the first day of the invasion, this dude took out 7 Russian jets in air-to-air combat, and they're calling him the ghost of Kiev. Okay.
Yeah, I hope it's true. Fuck them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
They fucked around and found out. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Ghost of Kiev. Yeah, I'll have to look into that, because I just Googled that, and there's videos where it's like, is this real? Unconfirmed.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, for all we know, I guess it could be just morale boosting propaganda.
Yeah.
But either way.
But whatever it takes to rally. Yeah. And it's been crazy too. When what was it? I guess they were on, Russia was essentially telling Finland and Sweden, you're next if you decide that you're going to try to join, the UN or NATO?
NATO. Yeah.
So
that's what they told Ukraine too before this happened.
Right.
And Ukraine did not join, and it still happened. So
right. So essentially what Russia is telling them is we're going to say whatever it is, and then we're going to do it anyway. Your guys are next, essentially, once we have secured this.
Yeah. Yeah, Finland is in a more precarious spot because of their geographic location in relation to Russia. They share a pretty sizable border. The same goes for Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. But I believe those 3 are already members of NATO. I could be wrong, but I believe that they are. And so they're already in. They're already under the protection. The problem is, what does that really get them? Because they're smaller countries, so Russia could just storm them pretty quickly.
Right.
And they share a border with Russia, so it's not like they have to go far to do it.
Yeah.
Would we respond? Yeah. But could we respond fast enough to prevent them from being completely consumed? Probably not. Although, of course, I don't know the full capabilities or willingness of what NATO can or can't or will, whatever, do in those situations. I do know that the NATO reaction force was activated today for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And they're being sent to defensive positions in NATO nations that are closest to Ukraine. So they're not going into Ukraine. They're just going to observe and report for now, so to speak.
Right. Essentially just be there in case we do have to react. And then,
yeah,
we're so there. It's kind of like what you were just saying, like how quickly could we even get there if they decided to march into these other lands? I think that's what we're expecting. And so we're getting ready so we can be there with, a few hours.
Yeah. And most of the U.S. military can deploy within, just a few days if really needed it. So there's always that. Obviously, it's going to take longer to get larger forces over there. But we already have a lot of stuff that's in range. There's bombers in Guam that can reach that part of the world pretty quickly.
And I know that we've sent a number of people, or they're on their way there to Germany.
And Poland, yeah.
Yeah, to get ready.
Yeah. I mean, when we bombed Libya back in, 2011, at the end of Gaddafi's reign, the bombers that dropped some of those bombs took off from Missouri, dropped their bombs, and then landed in Missouri. Huh. So we have the range and capability to go anywhere in the world, pretty much.
Right.
So, can we respond? Yeah. Will we? I hope so. If it goes beyond Ukraine. I don't think we're going to get directly involved with Ukraine unless it goes past Ukraine.
Right. They would have to hit one of the allies, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have to escalate even further from where it is now, for sure.
Right.
Because right now they're just doing the sanctions against banking mostly and money. They have set up some sanctions against individuals, mostly Russian oligarchs. Nothing specific to Putin as a person from Biden.
But that's in talks. There's nothing official yet.
They're considering what to do with Putin sanction-wise as a person. They've already hit Russia as the country, and Putin's the president, so he's kind of the face of that. But personally, Putin has not been sanctioned yet, to my knowledge.
Right.
But yeah, that's probably forthcoming. They're just deciding what the best approach for that is.
And you always have Anonymous attacking them as well.
Yeah, Anonymous is coming in clutch with the repetitive cyber attacks against Russian economic and military websites and databases and things of that nature. So they're out there doing their thing too.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's nice to see. You know what I mean? Like, this group isn't just fucking around to fuck around. They're just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, this is what they know what they can do, and they're putting that to use.
Yeah. And I do know that several, there's been some questions about, okay, we, the U.S. and other allies in Europe, supplied Ukraine with weapons, but how effective are they going to be if we don't get the training up to speed?
Right.
Well, the first day, or first night, really, because it started before sunrise a couple days ago, Ukrainian forces were knocking out Russian helicopters pretty early in the invasion with Javelin missiles supplied to them by the U.S. So it seems like we got the materials there and we got the knowledge into the Ukrainian military to use it.
Yeah, and I saw that the Ukrainians took out some Russian tanks as well.
Yeah, I saw that as well, which is extra impressive because Russian tanks have this thing on them called reactive armor, which usually requires the same spot on a tank to be hit once or twice beyond the initial impact to actually do anything.
Yeah,
so,
and they did. The video I saw had like 2 of them on fire, so they did it multiple times with multiple targets.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, there are some things that reactive armor can't ward off, but reactive armor is pretty standard on Russian armor. So the fact that they were able to get through that, disable them, and take them out of the fight is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh man, like I'm not one to like I don't do the whole pray for whoever, but I do hope that they're able to fend off the Russians for sure.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm not a huge fan of thoughts and prayers and put a flag on my profile picture. That's not really my thing.
Right.
So I can appreciate that. But yes, I'm with you on.
But
fix the fucking ass. There's a small part of me. I think it's less likely in this scenario, but there's a small part of me that worries a little bit about history repeating itself. The last time the U.S. supplied and trained forces to fight against Russians was the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. And then, a couple decades later, those weapons were turned around against us.
Yeah.
So I don't want history to repeat itself in that regard for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a small part of me that does have that concern, but I think it's a far less likely outcome in some place like Ukraine.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I know that like our group chat that we have on, our text thread, like we're pretty into it, as far as keeping up to date and sharing information where we find it.
Yeah.
So it'll be something that's up on the forefront of my brain, for this entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that they're handing out AKs to any citizen who asks for one. And Ukrainian men aged 18 to 60 are not permitted to leave the country because they're expected to serve.
Fight. Yeah.
They're basically all being
drafted
at once. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I don't know, man. Like, my thought, like, I don't know. It's like, it's so weird, I've, even like during 9/11 and all that, that kind of was something that I didn't pay too much attention to because of where we were in our lives. You know what I mean? And so it's different being able to see what's happening. It was like last week we were talking about it. It's like, oh, well, we'll see where we are in a week. And here we are a week later with the invasion, so, well, I guess we'll see what's happening in another week, whether Ukraine falls or they're able to hold them off, or if Russia does something to somebody else that's an ally and causes us to get into it, or if, China decides to do what they're planning on doing, because they're probably most likely planning on, doing something to Taiwan. So,
yeah, I would imagine that if things escalate with Russia, where they start going into NATO countries, and then every NATO country is by treaty obligated to respond militarily, not economically with sanctions. Like, okay, this is the treaty for NATO says you send in your military to defend NATO countries if they're invaded. End of story. So if it escalates on that regard, then I can easily see this escalating into a World War III situation where You'll have all the NATO countries plus, a few other allies here and there align against whatever we would call basically, I could see it being Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea.
Yeah.
Which would really put India in a tough spot because I think that they would lean more toward the NATO forces and U.S. forces side of things, but they'd be fucking surrounded.
Yeah.
Iran, Pakistan, China is all right there.
So it might be survival that they would side with them just because they're surrounded like that.
I don't know, man.
But there's certain countries that will be surrounded and they don't give a shit. They will do what they need to do.
Yeah. And India is not a tiny country that's overly weak. And it is a nuclear power. So India and Pakistan have nukes. So that gives them some flexibility, which really makes what's happening in Ukraine even worse because once upon a time, Ukraine had nuclear weapons and they gave them up for the promise of, security. And here we are.
Right.
They never that should have been the agreement. We give up our nukes, you let us into NATO, but that's not what it was. That's not how it went down. So now we're in this situation.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing we can do at the moment other than watch, So and see what the outcome is even going to be for us on our side, with the sanctions and what takes over. Because I know, like if China takes over, Taiwan, that really puts a squeeze on us in other ways as far as like technology, because that's where a lot of our tech chips and shit like that come from. And then
there's a lot more at play directly for the US in Taiwan and South Korea.
Yeah.
And Japan. Like those three countries all have a very tenuous geographic position if things escalate.
Yeah.
And we're all of them are under U.S. protection, essentially. We have huge amount of forces in South Korea and Japan. And Taiwan is one of our top trading partners. So there'd be a lot more at stake to prevent those from falling. But then the question also becomes, like those smaller European countries, how quickly could we respond if China wanted to just cruise over to Taiwan and just start going to town? How quickly could we get there to prevent that? Would it be quick enough? Hard to say.
Yeah.
Because they're right there.
Yeah. And it seems like that might be something that we kind of move things over, like it's hard to say, right? 'Cause you would want to move things over there just in case. That's an act of aggression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just
if we moved one of our fleets to Taiwan as a preventative measure, then China would escalate too by saying, "Oh, now you're threatening us by moving a fleet into our waters." And
right.
So how do you react, or how do you preventatively react? I know that sounds weird to say it that way. Like, how do you preventatively react? But what do you do in that situation where just getting prepared for something to go wrong is itself an act of aggression against China?
Yeah.
It's a sticky wicket, man.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll see. Yeah. Well, we'll I'm sure we'll check back in. We'll be keeping updated. We'll check back in next week, see where we're at.
It's all we can do, like I said.
But in the meantime, let's go ahead and move on with our regularly scheduled show, right? So before all this shit started happening in the world, there was a little shop that we went to that had some cookies.
Yes, sir.
So
what a transition.
I mean, we gotta move on, right? And hope for the best, expect the worst, move on, and try to do. We gotta live day to day as much as possible. Can't live in fear, I guess. even with just us being on the other side of the fence watching in the meantime.
Tell the world to go fuck itself.
Right. Well, yeah, be like the Ukrainian guy to that Russian warship. Yeah, go fuck yourself. So this week for Crumble, all right, we had there was cornbread, which was a duplicate that came in. Blue Monster featuring Chips Ahoy. That was a new one. Reese's Peanut Butter featuring Reese's Pieces as a duplicate that came in. And German Chocolate Cake, which was a new one for me anyway. Since there was a couple duplicates, I got the two new ones. I got the Blue Monster featuring Chips Ahoy and the German Chocolate Cake. And then because I love how much they do the peanut butter, I picked up the Reese's Pieces peanut butter cookie.
And nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I only got one cookie this week. Like you said, the Reese's Pieces peanut butter was a duplicate. The cornbread was a duplicate, so I didn't get those. I wanted to get the Blue Monster, but they did not have them at my location. They were on the menu, but they were just out. So I only ended up with the German Chocolate Cake.
And what was your reaction to that?
So I don't like German Chocolate Cake as it is, but I couldn't pass it up in the interest of being thorough. So I got it, I tried it, and it came in low. Number 102 overall out of 113 cookies I've tried.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm just not a fan of German chocolate cake. It's the coconut goo that they put on top that ruins it for me.
Oh, I love that. I could just eat that shit by itself.
No, hard pass for me.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that one. I like German chocolate. That was always one of those things that I liked as a kid. What I really liked about it is the coconut goo that they put on the top of that. But I liked that they put it on top of like a melted chocolate fudge almost. So that was really good. And then the chocolate cookie itself was really soft, which was just, man, like it was like it melted in your mouth and it was so fucking good, That said, I mean, it ranked decently. It came in number 21 for me overall.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Especially because, I mean, you go against some pretty heavy hitters, as you start getting up in the top 20. So 21, that's a solid hit. That said, too, I did try the Blue Monster featuring Chips Ahoy. Right, they did have that. And that one was actually really good. So the Monster, right, portion of it was the brown sugar cookie with semi-sweet chocolate chips in it, and then they rolled it in like the crumbs of the mini Chips Ahoy, and then they put like a blue buttercream frosting, which is really good. I like buttercream on the cookies, so they put it on there. They sprinkled a bunch of crumbs on there, and then placed one of the miniature Chips Ahoy cookies on there, and it was nice. That one actually came in number 22. So both these cookies,
oh wow,
pretty much hit the same as far as where they land on the listing here.
Not terrible. When I saw the Blue Monster on the menu with the Chips Ahoy, is it a nod to Cookie Monster?
It could be
without using his name for because licensing purposes and all that.
I would
jazz.
think so. That makes sense. I didn't even think about it that way. But yeah, he's blue and he loves chocolate chip, or he used to love chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, I don't know what. I'm assuming he still likes chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. And the peanut butter featuring Reese's, that was number 28. I mean, obviously it's dropped some since then, but like, now that I'm thinking about it, that could bump up a little bit. It was so good. Like, and then Mary's boss sent us some cookies as well. So we actually got a couple duplicates for this week as well. So we destroyed the Blue Monster, and I destroyed the Reese's Pieces one. When we get the duplicates from her boss, right? We've already had ours, so we actually share it with the kids. Nice. and the youngest one, like her and I, we go into the pits and we battle to see who gets the Reese's Pieces. Yeah, because she likes that one a lot too. So it's rare that we'll share with the kids because what we do.
Yeah, it's a special thing for you guys.
Yeah, but when we get the duplicates like that, it's good. So, and that's it for the cookies, man. I'm gonna go down and get some right after the show because I'm really stoked about it. Want to eat some more. Aside from that,
what else is going on in your life?
So I've been reading a lot. Right?
Okay.
So I have my Kindle Paperwhite, and over the last couple of years since I've had it, because I signed up, I have the Kindle Unlimited. I have, the Goodreads app that's on there, so it kind of tracks, and you can see what your friends are up to. It's kind of like a Facebook for books, essentially, which is kind of cool. I get to see what like some of the people I really like talking about books with or what they're reading, and then if it sounds interesting, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, I'll just download it and have it ready to go. So last year, or at least the start of this year, the Goodreads app did what Xbox did and PlayStation and Nintendo and yada yada, where they give you the history, like the breakdown of your year. And I'm not a fast reader by any means. I used to read a lot when I was a kid, even as like a young adult. But as I got older, things got more crazy, and my book reading just kind of went almost non-existent until I had the Paperwhite. And so I'd start reading some books. I'm trying to get into some fantasy books because that's going to be my preferred genre, but I'll pick up a couple other random things. Last year, I read 4 books in total, right? Not great, especially when I see people, they're like, I've read 53 books this year. It's like, holy shit, man. But so my goal for this year was to read more than 4 books, even if it's just to get to 5 books, right? Because I know life gets in the way, and I try to read every night. Like at 9 o'clock, I like to lay down and unwind, and I'll read a chapter or so, or depending on the chapter size and how tired I am, I can knock it out. But so far, I'm working on book 3, so I think I'm going to beat my last year's record.
I think so.
Yeah. So I read a fantasy book called Nista. It was okay. I know there's like 10 books in the series. I don't know if I want to dive into it that much. Right. So, but it's still on a list where it's like, I could go back to it. I've actually really wanted to read the Legend of Drizzt books, right? Like the D&D books. I've always wanted to read them, but every time I was at the bookstore, they didn't have them individually. They had like a trilogy at a time, and when I get a giant book like that, it psychs myself out to where I'm like, I'm gonna be stuck in this book for I don't know how long, and I don't know if I'll be able to finish it. So I started buying them just individually on the Kindle, and they're not crazy. They're like 400 pages, I would think, 280 to 400 pages. I've been looking at a lot of different books, so I see a lot of different pages. So I've been reading those. I finished, I think, book 3 in that series out of 36 books. And I plan on going through all of them. I just don't want to do them back to back. I like to break it up, so I'll do like maybe 1 or 2 books in that series, and then I'll read a completely different book. So right now I saw that the James Bond books were on Kindle Unlimited. So I've just started Casino Royale. Which that's only 100 and some odd pages, so I'll be knocking that out, not within the next, I want to say, week or 2, depending on how long the chapters are. So I'd like to read the James Bond books, so that's what I've been up to.
Nice. Yeah, I can relate about that big book psych out too, because I'm in the middle of a book right now that it's one of my more recent purchases, but I have some books sitting on my shelf that have been there for a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, that I haven't read yet, but they are beefy. Yeah, and that's part of the reason is I look at them and I'm like, damn, man, I don't know if I have that kind of time.
Right. Yeah, even if it's just a little bit. I mean, because Mary will sit there and read her Kindle as well, and we have it to where it shows us the page number and the percentage of the book that we're in. And there's times where it's like, I'm like at 25% of this book. And she's like, well, I'm only at 60%. And, or something crazy. But like, I've finished 2 books while she's still reading the one. Now, her book is one of those beefier books where it's like, 1,100 pages, you know,
Yeah.
1,089 pages, and I'm reading these 200 to 400 page books.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you'll crank through those faster.
yeah. So and I'm just like, oh, that book was great. I'm starting this one tonight, and she just looks at her and she's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm still working on this one. I think she's reading like Anne Rice books because Anne Rice recently passed away.
Okay.
In, the last month or so or two. So she's kind of just going back and reading the like Interview with the Vampire and the Lestat books and stuff like that, which can be detailed.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like Stephen King, you know, where it's like, let me talk to you about his shirt and the pattern and the buttons on each intricate, intricately, carved symbols on whatever. So like sometimes
that's the same writing style as Alexander Dumas. Like yeah.
So sometimes that can be a little bit much. I'm like, okay, I get it. He's wearing a blue shirt. It's nice, you know. So that's what I've been doing in my meantime.
Well, I commend you on that goal. I am the book I am in the middle of reading right now. I started in November, and I'm probably 75 or 80% of the way through it.
So you're getting there.
I'm getting there. It's not it's pretty dense. It's not overly long. It's probably 500 to 600 pages. But the subject is theoretical and particle physics and science history.
Yeah. So
it's pretty dense. And I'm not going to lie, I don't understand a lot of it. I wouldn't say a lot of it. There are sections that I definitely don't understand. And so mid-chapter, I'll stop reading and then I'll start reading stuff on the internet to try to learn more about what this guy's talking about before I go back to the book to continue. So
I gotcha.
That definitely drags it definitely lengthens the amount of time it takes to read that particular book.
Yeah. Well, good luck on that. Keep going. How often do you read?
4 days a week at least.
Okay.
So I usually get about a chapter done every 2 reading sessions.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, a lot of it is because early on in the book, it was going at a pretty good pace because a lot of it was historical background on like, hey, this is what Ernest Rutherford did, and this is how things like the structure of the atom was discovered, and this is what they did to figure it out. So it wasn't quite as technically deep. It was more like who did what and when. But as it gets closer to modern times, they start talking about like the Large Hadron Collider and what they're looking for and what they think they're looking for, because it's all theoretical until they actually see it. And he starts going a lot deeper into things. So as I'm getting closer to the end, it's getting denser and it's slowing me down even more.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. They hooked me, and now they're
sinking me.
And now they're reeling me in.
All right, man. Awesome. Well, that's what we do with our reading. But how about what we've been playing? What have you been playing?
More PUBG, man. I've been playing PUBG, and I've also, this is an older game, but I have not played it. Had not played it. Peggle 2.
I saw that you were playing that. I love Peggle. I'm so bummed that they have, that they stopped making those.
Yeah, played Peggle 2, came out in 2013. And the whole reason I started playing it is because I was scrolling through Games with Gold. And my daughter went, "Daddy, unicorn, Daddy, unicorn." And I said, "Oh, yeah, there is a unicorn. Look at that." And I was like, man, I remember playing the first Peggle, and I had fun. I was like, screw it, I'm going to download it. And I started playing it, and the kids love cheering me on when I play that game.
That's awesome, especially when you get that last, button, and then it plays the music and all the fireworks are going off and shit like that. Like
that's when they start cheering, man.
Yeah,
they start dancing in the living room. Yeah, woohoo! So it's a lot of fun to get them involved like that.
That's awesome.
All because my daughter saw the unicorn. I was just like, ooh, I want to know what that is.
Yeah, I saw you playing that, and I was like, "Damn, cool, man." And I was like, and, I've done that. I've downloaded that one a couple times and gone through. Like, I'm never gonna get all the achievements for that one. It's just one of those things where it's like, fuck it. I just want to screw around,
Yeah, it's
not
just
do anything crazy.
Yeah, it's a game you don't really have to focus on too much.
Right.
Whereas,
a lot of times it's just chance. I'm gonna fire it over here and see where it goes.
Yeah. And then with PUBG, like, I know every week that's one of my answers, right? But something in the past 2 weeks probably, something has clicked, and I am playing noticeably better than I ever have. I'm getting higher placements in my matches. I'm getting more kills per match. I'm dealing more damage per match. I don't know. I'm guessing it's just repetition of playing, that something has clicked and now it's starting to fall into place, and it's kind of nice.
Hell yeah. It's got to be that TV.
Yeah, yes, it's the TV. It's the TV, and we got a sound system for it now too.
Hell yeah. We're actually getting close to being able to go get a TV ourselves. So I have the money for it, but I'm sitting on it just in case, because I have to go through another week before payday and, rent and random shit. Like, I don't want to go be like, let's go get a TV, and then the fucking car acts up or anything like that.
Yeah,
so, knock on wood. I'm just like, well, we got it. Let's wait until we both get another paycheck, which would just add to that pile that's going toward the TV. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. So we're going to do that. Maybe get like a new... so we're gonna get like the Samsung Neo QLED.
Okay,
so that's what I'm gonna go for, the super thin one. So we're gonna get a new mount, and then because I don't know what I'm doing with tools, I will bribe Mary's brother into coming over with some beer and pizza, and and he's gonna hopefully help us put that up and get that all set up, because since we upgraded from the PS4 to the PS5, we can't use our sound bar. Our surround sound system has just been kind of sitting there, laying dormant, because the PlayStation, right? Because we don't have a cable box or anything like that, and our current TV, it's old. It's from 2013, 2014. So, it doesn't have an optical cable jack, like a plug-in. It just has the HDMI ARC, which we could plug on the PlayStation in there and it'll just play the sound, but it won't give us the video. So
right.
Yeah, so we're kind of just waiting. So once we get the TV, I've already checked. It's got 4 2.1 HDMI ports. It's got the the optical audio port in there, so our soundbar will connect to it. So it's going to be fucking sweet looking for the living room, and it's going to sound good again. So
yeah,
I
wasn't planning on getting a soundbar and all that jazz. But then like a week and a half ago, the Daily Deal Amazon Treasure Truck was a soundbar and subwoofer, and it was eARC 2.0 compatible with Dolby Atmos.
Fuck yes, I love Dolby Atmos.
And then I looked at the back of I was like, I know for a fact that there's an eARC connector back there, and it was on sale 40% off. So I was like, fuck it, I'm getting it. I don't care. I didn't even ask, I didn't even talk to Jessica because I was at work at the time. I just ordered it, and then I sent her a message. I was like, hey, we have a sound system coming. And this is happening.
Yeah, man. I'm not one of those guys who I love tech. I'm going to buy a lot of tech, right? But there's certain things like a TV. Once I buy this TV for downstairs, that's going to be the TV that sits there for several years. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The TV that I have in my room now that we're recording in, or that I'm recording in, that is nice. I really like it. And the soundbar is a Bose. So it does phenomenal here, right? In this room. But when we move and I get a bigger space, I am going to get a bigger TV. I am going to upgrade my Bose soundbar, because right now it's just the Solo. But I'll upgrade it to, I forget what it's called, what the next one up is, but it comes with a subwoofer. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to fucking get that in my room as well. So when I play my games, watch my movies in here, it is going to be almost that theatrical style, even furthering that. So
Yeah, the one we got has the subwoofer, and it has different settings. So you can optimize it for watching a movie or, listening to music or playing games or whatever you're doing. You can actually like fine tune.
Yeah, get almost like an equalizer,
Yeah, kind of.
So
And what's also cool is the light strip that I put on the back of the TV has a setting where it's sound reactive. So for every beat, it will change colors and flash.
Nice.
And so when you put it all together, it's really cool.
That's awesome. Sounds like you have a nice setup, man. Yeah.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, that's the primary setup, and it's going to be like that for probably a decade.
Yeah. Unless something goes out or whatever. Like, I'm not the one that's like, oh shit. Like, I'll make those big jumps when I need to. You know what I mean? Like, I had a TV for fucking 15 years that was tiny as shit, and it wasn't until I got my PlayStation 5 where, Mary, she was up here in the room. Like, so I connected my PlayStation to my computer monitor, and I connected hers to the TV, and we just sat in the same room, just playing our own, separate games or whatever, just hanging out because we didn't have the kids. And she was playing Ghost of Tsushima. Now, downstairs, the TV is older downstairs, but it's not 15 years old, right? So she's playing it up here, and she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with your TV?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Everything's like whitewashed and like it has like a haze or whatever." And then she looked at my computer monitor, and I was playing a game, and it was like crystal clear, right? Because I got my computer monitor, when after when we started working from home, right? So she's like, "Oh my god," she's like, we have to get you a new TV. And I was like, yes, because I've been saying that. And she's like, you don't need a new TV. You have a TV at work, yada, yada. I was like, yeah, but it's got to be like do this and it's got to do this. And she's like, whatever. But it wasn't until she sat down and played her own game on that TV where she's like, all right, I see what you're saying. Now, I'm not going to be the one that's going to be like, let's do it every fucking 6 months. But like, let's upgrade the TVs,
Yeah. And for smaller TVs, it's not too cost prohibitive.
Yeah, like I plan on wanting, like I want to for this holiday I want to upgrade the TVs for the kids in their rooms, and get a 4K flat screen TV for like 32 inches, which is what they have. They have a 27 inch right in their room, so I'm gonna bump that up a little bit, give them more real estate essentially. But it's gonna be like $300 per TV.
Yeah,
so I was like, fuck yeah. And then, I'm going to probably do is upgrade their Fire Sticks to the 4K. So, they can stream all that shit. And because I pay for the Netflix, right? That's 4K. And so why not make sure that they can utilize it?
Fucking A.
So, but yeah, man. So,
our old, just to touch on, you talked about not feeling the need to upgrade constantly. I mean, our old TV isn't bad. It's just, it is older and it's starting to show its age, but I use it primarily for watching big shows and movies or gaming.
Right.
So it's starting to show its age in that regard, but it's not dead by any means. It's still a quality TV. So we actually ended up hanging it on the wall in one of the spare bedrooms.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not even like we got rid of it and we're just like, fuck this and dispose of it.
Yeah, I see. I like that. I like that idea. Like with the spare bedroom, connect a Fire Stick to it, and then just be like anybody who's staying over. It's like, hey, if you want to turn in, there's the remote in there. You can watch whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that's what we do. Like the whole reason I got a Fire Stick to begin with for us was when Mary, because she was traveling quite frequently for work, and then we would go on vacation. So I was like, take this, plug it into the TV. Connect to the internet, and now you have our entire fucking library, plus all our streaming services on one stick, and you don't have to worry about it. So it actually helped out quite a bit on certain things, like especially when we took the kids to California for a trip. We took one of their Fire Sticks and then took ours. So they had it out in the living room, we had it in the bedroom, and when it was time to unwind after we did dinner and showers from the beach and shit like that, like we lay down, like we don't have to go to sleep, but it's time to relax, and so they would we would put on our own shows and just, watch a movie or whatever. So
just living your best life.
Yeah, man, that's how you do it. It's like, we're going to go out and party, but when we come home, I want to watch some comfort food,
I can appreciate that.
So
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. So is that all you've been playing?
Yeah.
I went on a tangent there a little bit, but that's what we do.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of depth in what I've been playing this past week, just those couple games. And
Nice.
I also played a couple games of Fortnite with some people just because that's what they were playing and they asked me to come play, but it's not really noteworthy per se.
Yeah. I have been continuing my playthrough for Cyberpunk 2077. It's good.
It's much better than it was.
Oh yeah, I haven't had any sort of glitching issues or anything like that. It's so I'll keep on with it, but I have a feeling that I am going to be pulled away from it, which is fine. It's one of those ones I'll keep going back to because it's a first person shooter. They're all pretty much the same as far as like control wise goes. So I have actually been playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Switch. I finally picked that up, even though I've picked it up on the 3DS. I was like, now, like I never beat it, so I was like, now I want to sit down and play it because they announced the third one, and I never played the second one. So I was like, let me go ahead and get through this. I'm going to get the second one, and then when the third one comes out, I'll get the third one. So that's been pretty fun. And then I know but March is fucking heavy for games. Like the games I want, there's like 4 or 5 games I want to pick up. Like Grand Theft Auto and Triangle Strategy and Kirby on the Switch and shit like that. So I'm just kind of playing through this, and keeping up with that. So I think I'm going to be doing a rotation here as soon, so I could just keep in the know, keep in the conversation. But other than that, man, that's all I've been playing. I will say that there's been not a whole lot of news, but some real fucking cool news. Right? For me, anyway. PlayStation, they revealed, they gave us a first look at the PlayStation Vr2. Now, before, I think it was like last year, we had seen the controllers, right? And they kind of look like orbs, almost, that wrap around your hands, right? But they were black. So we're okay, nothing out of the ordinary for that. But we did get to see on the PlayStation blog the actual headset, and I am a huge fucking fan of this headset, man. It looks very similar to the Oculus, right? The Oculus Quest 2. So it's got the cameras built in. The headband is smaller than what it was on the PlayStation VR 1. So it's got a smaller headband. It's got a smaller face, the goggles set. It still snaps in, right? So it locks into place, which is really nice because Mary, that's one of her major complaints against the Oculus is it's front heavy and it doesn't lock in unless out of the box. Anyway, I know like if I were to get that additional strap, the strap Elite or whatever it's called, that would lock in. So it's really neat that that's still going to be locked in. They added the white design on the controllers, so they're not just straight up black, and the headset's still white, just like it's similar to the first one. So it's very aesthetically pleasing and goes well with the PlayStation 5. And it still has the cable, so it's going to be plugging into the PlayStation. That's where it's going to get its power. That's where it's going to run its games, right? So the face mask isn't going to be heavy. They actually said it's lighter than the PlayStation VR 1, which isn't that heavy, I don't know if you remember trying it out here at my place, but it didn't seem heavy, or at least I don't think so for most people. So I'm very stoked. We didn't get a price. We didn't get any sort of release date other than like it's still rumored to come out holiday 2022. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on this kind of shit. I'm fucking in, man. I am so stoked for this. I can't wait. And with the whole camera thing too, be like putting it as the 360 view like an Oculus, so with that built into the headset, I'm going to be able to play in my office without having to need that 6 to 8 feet distance for the camera to pick up the move controllers from before. So I'm going to go super fucking heavy into VR games on the PlayStation for my trophies and stuff like that once this comes out. And we're going to get 2, because Mary wants one downstairs. I know that they're going to be updating Beat Saber so they can do these controllers on the PlayStation. So and that's what
I'm disgustingly out of practice on that game.
Dude, she's been killing it. She plays it on the PlayStation, and like it's essentially now lives downstairs because every other day or every day she jumps in and plays for about an hour. So I'm excited to see how that goes. And there's I still have Moss and stuff like that on the PlayStation, and Moss 2 will be coming out. So I think this will take over as my main VR set. Just because like the lenses and stuff like that are 4K, it's using the PlayStation 5 power, and if I'm going to spend the fucking money on the PlayStation and the VR, I'm going to want to use it as well, Yeah,
I'm guessing Oculus will step up their hardware on their next iteration.
They've already talked about it too. So they're coming out. They're working on what they're calling the Oculus Pro. So, and based on what they've said, right now, PlayStation Vr2, once that comes out, that will be the top tier VR as far as specs go. But based on what Oculus or Facebook or Meta, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, whatever they said, that it's actually going to bump it up over the PlayStation Vr2. Not by a lot, but enough to where that will take that spot as the number one, VR space technically, in a technical sense. But
hey, you just give me a headset that doesn't fog up if I sweat. Sold.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes for the Oculus, the Oculus Pro or whatever they're gonna call it. But VR 2, I'm very excited. They actually talked about it. If you check out the PlayStation blog, they talk about how they're working on the lenses that don't fog up. It does look like it has like the rubber that goes around the eyes. Looks like it's kind of layered, so it'll like it's almost like that terminal arm at an airport that connects to the airplane.
Oh yeah,
right. So that's what it reminds me of. So I think it's gonna like be form fitting to whoever's face is in it, which is nice. So, yeah. So I'm very excited about it, man. Like when I saw it, I was dropping the kids off and I got a notification on my phone. So I was dropping them off at school. And then I was like, okay, have a good day. Have a good day. And then when they shut the door, I was like, fuck yes. I'm so fucking stoked. Because I know like when my energy gets up there, I can scare people. I know I scare Mary and she's like, can you please like tone it down before, like go scream into a pillow and then come talk to me, because I think like my voice just goes up octave after octave. You know what I mean? So
I do know.
So I'm very excited about that. That is my main thing that came out in the news for this month. Nothing super crazy in the world of games. I did see Call of Duty is looking to skip their 2022 release because the last one didn't do so well. It didn't hit the numbers that they were expecting. And because it's an Activision game and Microsoft is taking over, I think Microsoft decided to pull it back and they're going to reevaluate what it is to be a Call of Duty game. Which is fine. Like Call of Duty is going to make the money regardless, right?
Probably, yeah.
But not if you keep driving it into the ground. So if you make it like a bi-yearly release, it'll do gangbusters, just maybe even more than if you were to do it yearly, because you've put enough time and energy and all that shit into it. Like people are gonna be stoked about it.
Call of Duty was turning into the Guitar Hero of the gaming world.
Yeah,
too much.
So yep. So pull it back. You know what I mean? You don't have to do every 2 years. Every other year. I think that's a solid fucking, thing to do for that title. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
They could go back to Infinity Ward developing a game and then Treyarch developing a game.
Give them more time.
That would give them 4 years for one game.
Yeah. Which would be fucking dope.
Yeah.
You don't need to churn the shit out left and right. You know what I mean? I get it. It's a way for you to literally print money, but you're going to get more money because you've put more care into it.
For a longer period of time.
Right.
Instead of burning it out in 5 years, you're going to stretch this out over 15 to 25.
Yep. So I thought that was interesting and noteworthy for sure. Bioware did come out as well. They were giving some updates on some of their own games. So they actually shared some of the statuses of the Dragon Age 4 and the next Mass Effect. So I don't know if you saw this. They kind of broke down what it means to make games and what the stages are, which I thought was really cool. I think they did this on their blog, so I don't think it's on the IGN article, but they essentially said Dragon Age 4 is in production, right? So you have your pre-production, you have your planning, yada, yada. They're actually working on the game almost like full steam at this point, right? I don't think we're not going to get this game this year or maybe even next year. What's that, 2022? We might get it in 2023 because they've been doing it for a while, you know? So, which is really good. I know that they had to like scrap it and kind of redo it because they were going to be making it as a games as a service. And with how people reacted to that, they decided to scrap that idea and make it a solo experience like their other titles. So I don't know how much scrapping that they had to do for that, but I would assume those are two completely different beasts and you kind of have to redo the bones a little bit. So, but you're in full production and I'm very excited to see where they go for Dragon Age 4 because that is one of my favorite Bioware. That is my favorite Bioware title. But they also said that Mass Effect, while they showed off a poster and they showed off a teaser trailer, it's only
theoretical, basically, at this point.
Yep. It's yeah. It's I forget what the term that they said for it, but they're like, it's in prototype stage. I was like, wow, okay. So maybe you don't
2027, 2028.
I was shooting for 2026. That was my guesstimate for that. But I was like, this is where my problem comes for shit like this. Stop teasing shit. Because now all we're going to do is just hear about it over and over again. And it gets tiresome. Yeah. You know, like you don't have to do it as crazy as, you know, the guys who did, what was it? Fallout, right? You don't have to be like, we're going to show this in January. By the way, it's coming out this Christmas. You know what I mean? Or like when they showed at E3, like this is the new Fallout. It's going to be out this holiday. You don't have to be as aggressive in that, but you know, like you could still do it within a year or, you know, maybe a year and a half or whatever. But like, if you're only in a prototype stage, I don't want to hear or know about this fucking game, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
There's too many games that are coming out and I don't need to be paying attention to yours when you're nowhere near us. That's like,
Microsoft did the same thing just a few days ago with a new Fallout New Vegas.
Did they really?
Fallout New Vegas 2. And they were like, oh yeah, we're in talks to maybe start thinking about making this.
Then shut up. I don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's cool. I get it. But you should have done it how you guys did it last time. It kept it fucking quiet. You know, until it was ready to go, maybe that year, and be like, or within the year, and be like, hey, here's a cinematic trailer, and everyone's gonna be super fucking stoked. A couple months later, you're gonna be like, here's some character reels or whatever. Here's some landscapes. Here's some new weapons. Here's some new armor. You know what I mean? Just you could fan that out over a year, and you know, and say, hey, it's like we're gonna show it this summer. And it's going to be out in 2020, holiday 2023. And everyone's going to be like, damn, that's a long time. It's only a year, right? But we're going to give you some stuff. Or you could be like, hey, January, like, boom, this Christmas, we're giving you a new Fallout. And you guys can lose your mind for 12 months. But when you're just like, I'm thinking about, writing about, talking about that game I want to do, maybe.
Yeah.
You know? It's
you're gonna hate this quote because it's everything you've just described as hating. So basically, now that Microsoft owns Bethesda and the studio that worked on the first New Vegas, Obsidian, are under the same roof again.
right.
So, quote, and this is a quote from Jeff Grubb, who spoke on the latest episode of his show Grub Snacks, said, "This is very early, but people have begun to have talks and say these words and sentences, and those words are Obsidian and New Vegas 2. We're talking years and years away. There's at least an interest and conversations happening about making something like that an actual reality."
Wow.
Like, they fully admit, like,
Yeah.
hey, we're just gonna give you blue balls about this for
Yeah, we're gonna tickle your taint.
Probably the better part of a fucking decade. Have a good day, bye.
Yeah, that's fucking dumb. I hate that shit. Because there's so much going on at any given time, you know?
Yeah.
And I know you want to be part of that
2 years from
conversation,
now-
but like at a certain point, people get tired of hearing about it.
2 years from now, this won't even be on my radar because it'll still be in production and we won't hear anything about it, and I'll forget all about it, and this is pointless.
Right. Or in 2 years, they'll show a cinematic trailer and they're like, we're getting ready to start this game.
Yeah.
Which will
Something.
be like another 4 years until it's done.
So, yeah, 2030, 2031.
Yeah. For the Xbox Series Q and the PlayStation 7.
No, it'll be the Xbox Series X version 2 Q model. It'll be something really fucking stupidly named, undoubtedly.
Xbox Series in XS.
Yes.
Like, we're just going to combine all of it. It's the X, it's the S, it's I. You know what I mean? We're just going to do it. We're going to do all of it. So, but I want to say before we move on, the DICE Awards happened. I don't want to go through all, I'm not going to go through it because that's a long list. So that happened yesterday. So congratulations to the winners. Game of the year was It Takes Two. So, we kind of knew that was coming in, but it did have some heavy, competition for it. So definitely check that out. If you didn't see it, I'm sure it's on YouTube. IGN has the article where it's the DICE Awards 2022 full list winners. So they break it down kind of like how we described it before, different categories, the games, and then they bolded and put winner next to the ones that won. So it's really cool to see some of those games. Returnal took some wins. Ratchet & Clank took some wins for sure. Halo won Action Game of the Year, and so forth. So check that out if you're interested in the award show.
Did you beat Halo yet?
No. I need to.
Oh, Andy.
They're doing an update too soon, so we can do co-op.
Yes.
Right, that's coming in. So I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like I was gonna hopefully try to beat it because I wanted to have the skulls and shit like that. So, I don't know. Well, I may just have to just fucking sit down and plow through it. So,
do it.
Yeah,
do it.
I need to
do it.
And then before moving on, I know we both have this, but so I'll go ahead and do mine, and then you can do yours. But the PlayStation Plus games for March will be Ghost Runner for the PS5 game. We're getting the PS4 game Ark Survival Evolved. We're also getting Team Sonic Racing, which is actually cool. Like, I've been actually looking forward to playing that. And the PS4, PS5 bonus game is going to be the Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is the multiplayer portion of Ghost of Tsushima, which is super fucking dope. I recommend everybody play that if you have a PlayStation, and get your games if you have PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, and Xbox is doing their games with gold. So this is separate from Game Pass. There's 4 games a month that they make available for download for free. And for March, it's going to be The Flame in the Flood, Street Power Soccer, Sacred 2, Fallen Angel, and SpongeBob's Truth or Square. I feel like it's kind of a weak lineup, especially since I think 2 of those are available on Game Pass as it is. But hey, it's out there available in March for those that may be interested in those 4 games.
Right?
They're also instituting, this is separate from Games with Gold, but they're also going to make it easier for people playing on Xbox to stream on Twitch. They're actually integrating it directly into the system itself.
Yep, they're bringing that shit back because their streaming service failed.
Yep, pretty much.
Mixer.
Twitch is too much now. It's just it is what it is. Embrace.
Right. Yep. So Discord is over on PlayStation and Twitch is hitting up. Twitch you could do on PlayStation as well, which is cool that Xbox is bringing it over. I knew Xbox was not going to have it right away because they had Mixer, but so it's cool that they were able to work that out and bring that over. Yeah, and it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be streamlined for usage. So you just press your capture and share button. You go over to the tab on the Xbox menu. You hit live streaming, and then you just say, "Yep, start Twitch," and you'll start streaming. That easy. Boom. Hell yeah.
Obviously, you won't have a camera. You'll have to set that up separately with third-party hardware. Of course, Microsoft has some recommendations. They don't have an official Xbox camera, but they have recommendations on things that are recommended for use. So if you're interested in streaming with a camera, check that out.
They should bring the Kinect back.
No thanks. I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's go ahead and move on, right? We're going to move over to the screen time. What have you been watching, man? What have you been putting in your brain?
I've been watching more Hot Ones. And I have been watching a few episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just trying to plug along on that one.
Nice. Getting there, man.
Slow grind, but I'm getting there.
So I watched... So first of all, I went and saw Uncharted last week when it opened.
And the verdict is?
Oh, man. It was a fun movie. I really liked it.
It looked like a good popcorn flick.
Yeah, it's like if you liked any of the Tomb Raider movies, that's essentially what this is, just a different cast. You know what I mean? It's like the joke for the games itself was Dude Raider. So you know what you're getting yourself into. It's an action movie. It's going to have some wit. It's going to have some over-the-top shit happening to it. And I liked it a lot. And I was hoping, and I saw it opening night, right? So it was like the Thursday before, that weekend. So I was one of the ones that supported it right off, so that it could be a success, which it is, as far as what Sony has said. As of, I'm looking at the website boxofficemojo.com. And as my day on the 17th, it's rolled into a Friday because it's technically like that midnight release type of it. It brought in 15 million, I think.
Yeah, I think I remember reading somewhere that the whole weekend was like 52 million.
Yeah, so it did really well. So opening. This is how. So okay, on the website it says grosses domestic was 40.6% of the money at currently as of like the 24th, which was yesterday. It did a domestic box office of $60 million.
Oh, it went up. Okay, nice.
Yeah. International, it's at 88 million for a total worldwide 148.13 million, right? Or however you want to fucking say that number. So $148 million so far as of yesterday. It actually is holding out as number one for the second weekend in a row this past weekend, which is awesome. And Dog is doing really well. Like they highlighted both those movies. Like Dog and Uncharted are holding the top spots for movie theater experience. So It's super cool. I'm glad that it did well. I thought it was really cool. I wanted to support it because I think video game movies are going to be the next superhero movies. As long as we support it and as long as they do it right, you know. And it obviously the movie deviates a little bit from the games, but it utilizes it very well. And they were pretty heavy on as far as what the writer and PlayStation being creatively hands-on, so they were able to make sure it flowed in the way that it wanted to. And I thought it was really cool, and it was funny. It was fun. I liked the actors and the actresses that were all in there. So, but with Sony coming out and saying, hey, Sony Pictures Entertainment saying this is successful, we will get at least one more. So we're going to get a sequel, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that they're already planning it.
Yeah. So it's nice to see, even Tom Holland, if he decides if they're not going to use him moving forward with another Spider-Man trilogy or do the reboot, because that's what Sony likes to do with Spider-Man, then he has this other movie, to jump in on, and it's really cool. I really liked him in this movie. He's definitely one of my favorite actors. One of my favorite recent actors. So
yeah, he's definitely a hot ticket item in Hollywood right now.
Yeah. So
him and his girlfriend.
Yeah. For sure.
They're both a miniature power couple at this point.
Yeah. So it's neat. I recommend it. I know not a lot of people are going to go to the theaters and see it. I wouldn't go. And when I posted it in one of the groups that I was in, they all said, I'll wait for it to come out. I want to see it, but I'll wait for it to come out. And, I said my piece where it's I wanted to support, and some people were dumb about it, where I was I wanted to support the movie, whatever. And they're well, yeah, support that indie studio, Sony. And I was it's less about this fucking studio, and it's more about the IP,
Right.
Otherwise we get another Warcraft. I liked Warcraft, but it didn't do well. So guess what? We didn't get a second Warcraft. I wanted a second Uncharted.
Right.
So, but
money talks.
Yeah, it does. If you support it, they will come. And then I'll come.
Double entendre.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I also started watching Mythic Quest on Apple TV. So that follows. I didn't realize that this was done by Ubisoft and Ubisoft Productions. So they're kind of showcasing a comedic view of what it means to work in a video game company, right? As a developer. I thought that they were used as inspiration. I didn't know that they were actually producing this. So it's funny. It's got I forget the actor's name. He plays Mac in It's Always Sunny.
Oh, Rob Nicolini. Yeah,
so he's the showrunner on that one, and he's one of those guys where it's he has the creative mind, but he doesn't know how to make it. He's also kind of a douche, but he's really funny about it. You know what I mean? He's not overly mean. He's just that high and mighty creative type, and
right.
It is interesting. I think we watched 2 episodes so far, so we're still pretty early into it. I know that there's 2 seasons, so it's doing well where it's getting more seasons. So we're going to be working on that for a bit. I did watch Cuphead, or the Cuphead show. I started watching that on Netflix. It's only 15 minutes an episode, so I'll power through that within the next week. That might be something you and your kids might like. It's all it looks very hand drawn, and it could be just with better tech to be able to scan this shit. But it's a slapstick cartoon, kind of like Looney Tunes or the old, the old 50s. It's done in that style. So
like Tom and Jerry or Coyote and Roadrunner kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So they're fun and they're short. They're 15 minutes, So it might be something that, you might want to look into, just at least one episode with the kids, see what the temperature is.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it. It was funny. Where they're singing songs, and it's you got the devil. He's trying to steal the souls of Cuphead and Mugman, and he's doing it at a carnival. So it's very much like those old cartoons. So, but that's what I've been watching, And then speaking of MCU, Charlie Cox has confirmed that he is going to be returning as Daredevil in the MCU.
Yeah.
We got the cameo at this point. You should have seen Spider-Man. But he was in Spider-Man, and he has confirmed that he is going to be back. So
technically, he's already in the MCU. Right.
But he's going to be moving forward with the character, which is really exciting. I am happy. You have him. And now the creator of Luke Cage is wanting those characters to be brought into the MCU as well, which I'm all for. I liked Luke Cage. I like the characters in Luke Cage. So I would like to see them, brought in as well.
Yeah, I liked Punisher a lot too. Iron Fist, they need to restart. They need to recast that because that wasn't the actors. The actors did what they could, but they need to recast it and they need to rewrite it.
For
if
who?
they integrate it for Iron Fist.
Oh yeah, they won't bring Iron Fist